Every single night your brain creates a feature film, a movie that you direct, you star in, and yet no one else will ever see. And usually it's bizarre, sometimes it's scary, and it almost never makes logical sense. We're talking about dreams, of course, and we're about to pull back the curtain on what's really going on in your head when you're asleep.
You know that feeling, right? You're in a dream, and suddenly your childhood cat is back, and for some reason is an expert helicopter pilot. And the craziest part is, in the dream, you don't even question it. You just hop in for the ride. So what on earth is happening?
I mean, think about it. We all do this. We fly, we fall, we have these deeply important conversations with historical figures who are, for some reason, wearing penguin suits. It's got to be the most universal and yet the most bizarre part of being human. And for centuries, nobody really had a clue why.
For a long time, the best guess came from guys like Freud, all about hidden meanings and secret desires. But modern neuroscience, well, it's shown us the biological truth, and let me tell you, it is way stranger and cooler than Freud could have ever dreamed up.
Okay, so to understand the dream, first we have to go to where it's actually made. So let's take a tour of the dream factory, which really kicks into high gear during one very specific part of your sleep cycle. And that stage is called REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. Now, you cycle through different stages of sleep all night long, but REM is the main event. It's the party zone, the deep dive phase where all of our most vivid, most memorable, story-like dreams happen. But here's where it gets really wild. Scientists actually have a nickname for REM sleep. They call it paradoxical sleep, and it absolutely earned that name because it's a state of total mind-bending contradiction. So here's part one of the paradox. If you were to look at a brain scan of someone deep in REM sleep, you'd see it's lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, the activity levels are pretty much identical to when that same person is wide awake, totally conscious, maybe even solving a tough problem. Your brain is firing on all cylinders. But, and this is a huge but, here's the other side of that coin. While your brain is having this all-night rager, your body is completely immobilized. This state is called atonia, and it's actually a brilliant safety feature. Your brain temporarily paralyzes your voluntary muscles, so you don't, literally try to fly that helicopter out of your bed. And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. During REM, your brain's emotional centers, like the amygdala, are in total overdrive. That's why dreams feel so intense, so real. But at the exact same time, your prefrontal cortex, that's the logical, rational, wait a minute part of your brain, is basically shut down. It's offline. And that's why you don't question the cat pilot. You just feel the wind in your hair. Okay, so we've got a brain that's emotionally supercharged, but logically taking a nap. How does that chaos create an actual story? Well, the leading scientific theory explains it all, and it's pretty elegant. It's called the activation synthesis hypothesis, and it's really just a simple two-step process. First, you have activation. During REM, the brainstem, a really primitive part of your brain, just starts firing off the storm of random electrical signals up into the rest of the brain. Then comes synthesis. Your higher brain intercepts all this random noise and does what brains do best. It desperately tries to make sense of it all by weaving it into a story. But remember the most important rule. The part of your brain that would normally act as a fact checker, the part that would say, hold on, that's impossible, is completely asleep on the job. Without that logic filter, your brain will accept pretty much any story it can cook up, no matter how wild. So just imagine these random signals firing off. Maybe one zaps a neuron connected to a memory of that whale documentary you saw, and another hits a memory of your old childhood playground. So your brain gets these two totally disconnected inputs, whale and playground, and it immediately scrambles to connect the dots. It synthesizes a narrative, and bam, oh right, of course, this is the story of the day I rode a flying whale to school. It just creates a plot to make the random inputs make some kind of sense. So that explains the how. Your brain is just making up stories to explain random static. But the why? Ooh, the why is where this all gets really profound. Why would we evolve this elaborate nightly movie-making machine? Well, it turns out it's not just for entertainment. The leading theory today is that dreaming is basically a form of overnight therapy. Its number one job is to process the emotions from your day and help regulate your overall mental health.
Think about a tough or stressful memory. When it first happens, your brain is just flooded with stress chemicals like adrenaline. It's a very hot memory. But during REM sleep, your brain replays that memory in a completely different chemical environment, one where all those stressful chemicals have been shut off.
So dreaming gives your brain a safe space to process difficult experiences without all the emotional pain attached. You can think of it like rewatching a scary movie, but this time with the sound turned all the way down. You can see what happened, but you don't feel that same jolt of fear. It's a therapeutic overnight session every single night. By doing this night after night, your brain carefully separates the memory from its painful emotional charge. It literally takes the sting out of the experience. This allows you to hold on to the important lesson from what happened, but you get to discard the trauma. It helps you wake up the next day feeling just a little bit better about it all.
So, the next time you wake up from a dream that feels strange or maybe even a little stressful, don't just write it off as random nonsense. Your brain wasn't being weird just for the sake of it. It was hard at work performing absolutely essential emotional maintenance to keep you balanced, healthy, and sane.
So next time you go to sleep, just remember that your brain is about to get to work. It's sorting through your day, processing your feelings, and basically healing you in preparation for tomorrow. It's pretty incredible when you think about it. So, what do you think your brain will fix tonight? Sweet dreams.